y'all, it's your girl Brie Danielle, and I'm back here with another video. For those of you who are new, welcome. For those of you who are a part of the crew, welcome back. Thank you for your continuous love and support of my channel. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like, comment, subscribe, and that little bell button so you don't miss when I post another video. And enough of the blase blah. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get straight into this video. All right, y'all. So today we're going to be talking about wilderness season. Wilderness season is going to have some things that are similar to my waiting season video. If you happen to see me looking down, it's only because I'm looking at my notes. I'm trying to be more intentional about making sure that I get everything that is in my notes, because I had this habit of like making these videos, not always having my notes near me, and then when I go back and watch it and go back and look at my notes, I'll be like, dang, I missed something. So I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. So we're going to be talking about wilderness season. And the way I think about wilderness season, I kind of broke it down into like 3 compartments for y'all to kind of grasp. And so the first one is separation. People going to hear separation. First thing people are going to think is separating from people. And indeed it is and can be. But it's not just that. But I'll start with that anyway. So separating from people. That means I am separating from the people who cannot serve who I'm becoming and where I'm going, where God is calling me to, what God is calling me into. I have to separate myself from those people, because it could be conversations is not what I want to participate anymore. Certain places we go, I don't want to go in those places anymore. Certain ways of existing and being, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm going in a new and different direction. I want to change the way I show up. I want to change the conversations I'm having. I want to change the spaces that I am in or going to. And so separating from people has to happen. Sometimes it's separation from people because these people are not in alignment with who you are becoming. And so separation from people is a thing. However, it's not just separating from people. It's also separating from the internal you, parts of the internal you. And so it could be separation from the way that you think, right? Maybe you want to think more optimistically. Maybe you want to think more positively. And so you have to separate from the thoughts that are negative, that are pessimistic, so that way you can become the better version of yourself. Maybe it's separating from the way that you speak to yourself. Maybe you don't always encourage yourself the way you would like to. Maybe you have this way of being your own worst critic. Separating from that is separating from a way that you're showing up and existing. Maybe you have to separate from being angry all the time, mad, bitter, whatever it is for you, separating from that, separating from shrinking yourself, separating from walking, or I should say, I like to say, giving power to your fears or your insecurities, right? Because fear is a real thing. We're going to encounter fear. It's about, are you giving power to that? But that's another video for another time. And so just separating yourself from not just people, but the identity in which you've been walking in, right? And so that separation is something that has to happen in the wilderness season. And so I think that is one of the first things that tends to happen. Now, let me just say this. Separation is not easy, because separation can start to feel lonely. Separation can feel very difficult. Separation can feel hard to deal with. And so as a result, sometimes separation makes you want to go backwards. And I'm reminded of the story that I read in the Bible, right? As you know, I am a woman on my journey in my faith. And so I'm always reading. And so it reminds me of the people of Israel when they were being delivered out of Egypt, right? And they had to go through the wilderness. And because they were in the wilderness, because the wilderness seemed so difficult and so uncertain, they were willing to go back into bondage because they were certain that they were going to be able to eat. They They were certain that certain things would happen for them, that they did not have to worry about when they were in the wilderness. And I say this because that's just kind of like a top of the knowledge kind of thing. So it's not verbatim, right? Um, but I say all of that to say, do not let the difficulty of separation have you walking back into the things that held you bound from becoming and walking in what it is that God is calling you to, the purpose that God has for your life. Do not let that have you walking backwards, right? And so that brings me to my next point: preparation, right? Wilderness has preparation, and preparation is not what we think preparation is, right? It can come with various things, right? You have temptation, facing having to face the things that you have walked away from, or you're trying to walk away from, that you're trying to be better at, right? Having to walk away from those things and having temptation, right? So those people that want to call you and tell you to come out, but you feel like you gave it up. Those people that just want to turn up and you feel like turning up is not in the season for you. So you got to walk away from that. But it's just that temptation of like, it's calling you back to do the thing that you said you're giving up, that you're walking away from, that you're separating from. Um, Sometimes it's the testing of your character, right? You'll encounter people who may not even understand what you're going through, this wilderness that you're facing, and so they may be tempted to say things that make you want to get out of the character that you're walking away from, right? People will test, they will try you because they don't understand the season that you're in, and that the season that you're going towards, the calling and the purpose that you're going toward. So you often are going to get tested, you're going to get tried, you're going to go through things that are going to, depending on what it is, you're going to go through things that test your strength. You might go through some stuff that tests your faith. You're going to go through various things. That preparation season is to build you, to grow you, in order to bring forth and to birth some things that needs to be, that you need in order to go into your next season, to go into whatever your calling and purpose is. And it is a time to also prepare you for the things that you have ahead of you, goals, dreams, the journey, right? So maybe it's a time for you to get separate so you can get focused on how you're showing up, but also like get focused on what it is that you're supposed to be doing. Maybe it's getting the preparation of creativity, right? So you're getting creative. Maybe it's preparation for going for the degree to get this degree that you're trying to pursue in order to be a doctor, a lawyer, whatever that looks like, a teacher, right? So preparation is meant to build your character. It's supposed to give you the things that you need in order to become who you need to become. Um, it could test your internal dialogue with yourself, right? And so you might go through some things that require you to speak positive to yourself, that require you to show up for yourself, that require you to not self-doubt. I can speak for an example, like the entrepreneurial side tests tests me a lot when it comes to being sure in like of myself, right? So there's been moments I've had ideas. There's been moments where my ideas, I doubt my ideas, right? I have a creative idea. I'm not sure about it, and I don't always act on it. This is me being very transparent. I don't always act on it the way I should. And so as a result, I tend to not go forward with the project. And then I'll come and I'll see somebody do something that I had an idea about, or something similar to what I wanted to do. And it's just like that idea of like not shrinking myself or invalidating myself, and not, going forward with something just because. So it's like kind of like a test in that way. It can be a test in that way. It's not just that, but it can be something like that. And so I say all this to say, the preparation season, test and trial. It may be a little chaos, it may be a little havoc, but it's just to prepare you for who you are to become and to walk in the calling and the purpose for your life. Last thing is presentation. Presentation is not for the applause, right? If you get applause, cool. But presentation is for you to put forth all of the things that you birthed and grew in the separation and preparation, right? And so that means I'm walking in what it is that I've been called to do, called to show up as, called to be, right? So the presentation is just like I'm showing up differently, right? I am speaking to myself differently. I am putting out all of the ideas that I got from my preparation in order to put it out there. Because, like I've said before, we're all here to impact someone, some way, somehow, right? And so that presentation part is just for you to put out there everything that you gained in your wilderness. The wilderness is nothing but a season to build you, to stretch you, to grow you, to become the best version of you, to show up for you, and to walk in your calling and your purpose. And so I say all of that not because it's easy, because the wilderness season is not easy. I'd be lying to you if I said it was easy. It's not. But be patient, be kind with yourself. And we are human, right? We're not perfect. So there are going to be some days where you're sliding, where you may fall short, but that's the human in you. So don't beat yourself up. Extend yourself some love, some grace, and pick yourself back up and keep going towards the path that you are on or you're going toward. So the journey is not easy. It's a journey, right? We say life is a journey, and that indeed it is. And so remember that when you're going through those tough moments, because those tough moments, like they say, it builds you, it grows you, and it strengthens you, even though it doesn't feel like it. And so, like I always say, extend yourself some love and some grace. And until next time, peace, love, and blessing.